Y'all know how Nike has Air Max Day? Well, today we're talking about New Balance's Gray Day. And yes, that is a thing. They celebrate their gray shoes because they do have the greatest shoes in the world. What's good, family? You were looking live at another episode of Special Delivery, and as y'all can see, we got some New Balance on deck today. This is the 550 and the 9060 from New Balance's new Gray Day Moon Daze pack, and I think these sneakers are pretty fire, but the weird thing about them is that, like, actually they already look like they're worn a little bit, which kind of threw me off. Like, I definitely was like, upon opening the 550s, I was like, yo, is this supposed to look like this? I don't know what it is. And there's actually an interesting story that goes behind them in the whole Gray Day thing. But before we dive into that, y'all know the vibes, man. We gotta actually, I guess these are already unboxed, so let's just go over the details a little bit. All right, let's take a look at these joints, see what they hitting on, man. Let's start with this 550 right here. Really interesting silhouette. Obviously, we've come to know the 550 over these last 3 years. You got that 80s basketball vibe coming with it. Definitely looks a little worn, if I'm being completely honest with you. It's mostly the suede material on the overlays here, and it looks like it has a little bit of stain to it, which is really interesting. That's just a really interesting way for me looking at this shoe right here, man. You got that vintage New Balance in right there, got a little bit of mesh right here on the collar, and then some more on the tongue right here. You go up, you see that New Balance in logo right there, or the New Balance 550 logo, I should say, which looks really nice. New Balance MB on the back heel, again, looks a little worn as far as the suede goes. It looks like there's like some scuff on it, which is, this is just such a fascinating way to present shoes to people, to be quite honest with you. Same with the midsole here, it just looks like somebody has worn it. Look at the outsole, it definitely looks like somebody's been taking steps in it, but as you can see, like, the shoe is pretty clean, man. Like, this thing is pristine for the most part. It's just the presentation of it that kinda is a little bit weird. Moving on to this 9060 right here, which is allegedly not Evan's pair of 9060s. Why would they be Evan's 9060s and not someone else's? These joints right here, this is like an Arctic blue colorway of the 9060, which I think looks really, really clean. Again, you've got that worn look to it though, right? It's like the suede overlays just look like they have this sort of stain or oxidization on it, I would say. And then you go up to the tongue, which is a really deep blue that I really, really like on this sneaker right here. New Balance in right there looks really, really shiny, really, really crisp. Just a really nice look at that logo. Go to the back heel, the heel counter, the bar that you get right there, it has this big old scuff on it that you can see right here, which is really interesting, but it also has this blue tint that I really like in this joint a lot. But once again, you get down to that midsole, definitely looks like somebody has worn these joints, which that definitely threw me off looking at these shoes, man. Like, I can't lie to y'all. But to be honest, I found out reading about the Moon Daze collection that this is actually how the thing is supposed to look. Like, this was the plan for Gray Day this year for New Balance, which I think is really, really fascinating. Let's talk about that a little bit. The thing about these sneakers is that, yes, it looks like somebody wore them, but that's kind of the point of them. So the whole point of the Moon Daze collection with the Gray Day theme is that New Balance sort of wanted to envision these shoes as, what would it look like if somebody wore these on another planet? And like, the moon's not another planet. Obviously, it's the moon, it's not a planet, but the concept is there, right? Like, you get it, and it looks really cool. It's a really nice sort of imaginative thing to do to these sneakers, and I think it looks good. It was very confusing, I will admit. It was very confusing for me, and it definitely had me ready to return these joints. But at the same time, now that I'm finding out that, no, this is actually the theme, I can really enjoy that. And I think that the whole Moon Daze thing, these sneakers along with the other pairs that come in the collection, this is just a really creative approach to the whole Gray Day thing that New Balance has actually been doing for a while. And I kind of feel like this is something that New Balance needs to do. Like, yes, New Balance has moved from this niche dad shoe brand that is now a more mainstream and popular thing with silhouettes that other people are wearing now, but they also need to sort of get people on board with the history of the brand, and that's what Gray Day is, right? Like in the past, they've given us all of these regular gray silhouettes, which is New Balance at its core, but if you're gonna bring more people in, then you have to attract them in some other way, and I think they're doing a great job of using Gray Day here as a means to do that. But let's actually talk about what Gray Day is, because I feel like this is just such a fascinating concept in general, and it definitely needs some diving into, so let's do it. So this whole Gray Day theme, it's interesting, right? This is a thing that I think a lot of people haven't really heard of, but it is something that New Balance does annually in May, and they drop all of these gray sneakers, or at least that's what it used to be anyway. Like we've gotten a gray 5740, a gray XC72, if y'all remember that sneaker. There's just a bunch of gray sort of current silhouettes that get that old school OG New Balance twist to it. And they'll also drop like a gray OG silhouette, like a 998 or something like that. And it's always good. Like I think it's cool that they do it. And it's honestly what New Balance's core is. Like they built these sneakers, that very first gray silhouette in 1980 to sort of be this urban sneaker that you can kind of wear and just blend in and run with it, right? But I think it definitely needed a little bit of a twist. It needed something interesting to sort of happen with it. And I think this Moon Daze thing is just the thing that we needed to see, especially for the sort of mainstream, non-core sneakerhead consumer. And that's an interesting thing, because like somebody like me, you know, the Gray Day thing, the Air Max Day thing, that kind of like, it's whatever. This is just like a promotional thing that the brand is doing to get people to buy more stuff. I understand that, but at the same time, again, the growth of New Balance and the spread of New Balance sort of depends on things like this. So I think this is just a really smart thing. I really like the collection, and I hope that they come with something just as interesting for next year's Gray Day and not just like a gray version of the 610 or whatever. So I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, fam, that's a wrap for this episode of Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and this is New Balance's Moon Daze collection. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Have a great, Greyt, Greyt day.